buttercup, you're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall, won't stop till I get enough.
Okay, so we've all heard about data breaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this one is hitting a little too close to home for comfort.
Yeah.
The U.S. Treasury Department.
Oh, wow.
We're going deep on how a hacker, and we think it's linked to the Chinese government, gained access to some pretty sensitive information.
It's really unnerving when you think about it. Like, it's not just some petty theft.
Right.
This is information that could impact national security, economic stability even?
And get this.
What?
This hacker apparently used a security key.
No way.
You know those little dongles for two-factor authentication?
Right, right.
Supposed to be an extra layer of security.
Exactly. Makes you wonder how they even got in.
Yeah, it's a head-scratcher for sure.
It really shows just how sophisticated these attacks are becoming.
Yes.
Like, you think you have these robust measures in place,
right,
and there's always someone trying to find a way around.
Always one step ahead.
Always.
So let's rewind back to the beginning. This breach happened on December 8th. Thankfully, officials found out pretty quickly.
That's good.
But the question is, what did this hacker actually get their hands on?
Well, from what we know so far, they were able to access workstations and confidential documents within the Treasury Department.
So we don't know the full extent yet.
Still under investigation.
Right, and that just adds another layer of anxiety to this whole thing.
Yeah, it's like this mystery that keeps unfolding.
Definitely.
But we do know they were using a service called Beyond Trust.
Okay.
And it was immediately taken offline to contain the breach.
It was a quick response, but it makes you think.
If a service specifically for secure access can be compromised, what does that say about all the other systems?
Right. And this isn't just an isolated event either.
Right.
This fits into a larger pattern of state-sponsored hacking.
Exactly.
And it all points to China.
Remember when the White House said Chinese officials were accessing Americans' texts and phone conversations through a telecom company?
Yeah.
Well, this makes it the 9th telecom company linked to this kind of activity.
9th. That's not just a coincidence.
No, it seems like a very deliberate and persistent effort.
Seems like it. And U.S. officials, they even have a name for this Chinese government's espionage unit.
Salt Typhoon.
Salt Typhoon.
And apparently they've been operating for at least 4 years.
Wow.
Targeting critical infrastructure.
So we have this elite hacking unit systematically targeting sensitive information.
It makes you wonder what their end goal is.
It does, right?
Why is China so interested in these systems?
Yeah. What are they after?
Well, there are a few possible motives.
Okay.
And each one is unsettling. Let's start with the obvious one, economic advantage.
Yeah.
Imagine having access to the U.S. Treasury.
Yeah.
You'd see financial strategies, trade secrets, potentially even information that could be used for market manipulation.
Oh, wow. It'd be like having a cheat sheet for the global economy.
Exactly. And that advantage could be incredibly valuable.
Especially in today's landscape.
It's not just about staying ahead.
Yeah.
It's about potentially undermining your rivals.
So you're saying China could be using this to influence economic policies or even manipulate currency markets?
It's definitely possible. And it's not just about financial gain either.
Okay.
This type of intelligence could also be used to circumvent sanctions or identify people or organizations involved in policy decisions that impact China.
So it's not just about money then?
No.
It's about power and influence on a global scale.
Precisely. And we can't forget about the possibility of disruption.
Right.
Imagine if sensitive information was leaked or manipulated.
Oh, yeah.
It could create chaos in financial markets, erode trust in government institutions, and even damage international relations.
It's a scary thought.
Definitely unsettling.
Yeah, it really makes you think, like, this isn't just something that happens in movies, you know?
It's a harsh reality check for sure. Cybersecurity, it's not just this abstract concept that only affects governments and big corporations. It touches all of us.
Especially now that everything's digital.
Exactly.
So let's get practical here. What can we actually do to protect ourselves? You know, we hear about strong passwords and phishing emails, but is that really enough with these kinds of attacks?
Yeah, you're right. Those are the basics, but it's about understanding why they matter.
Okay.
So strong passwords, for example.
Yeah, we were talking about password managers earlier.
Right. Use a password manager to generate and store unique, complex passwords for every single account.
Right.
It makes it so much harder for hackers to just brute force their way in.
Okay.
Think of it like having a different lock for every door in your house.
Right. It's not just about making it hard to guess. It's about making it impossible to crack.
Exactly.
Okay, so what about phishing emails? How can you even tell if it's real or fake anymore?
It's getting harder for sure.
Yeah.
They're so sophisticated these days, mimicking websites' communications. But one thing to watch out for is if they ask you to click a link to update your info or login credentials.
Right.
Real organizations rarely ask for that through email.
So be extra careful about clicking links, basically.
Yeah, think twice before clicking anything suspicious.
Okay, what about those software updates?
Oh, those are crucial.
Really?
Yeah, those updates often include patches that fix vulnerabilities that hackers could use.
Oh, so it's like reinforcing a weak spot.
Exactly. Ignoring those updates is like leaving your back door open.
Okay, so strong passwords, be careful with emails.
Right.
Keep our software updated. Anything else?
Yeah, one more thing. Being mindful of what you share online.
All right.
It's so easy to overshare on social media.
Totally.
Without thinking about the consequences.
Yeah.
But that information can be used against you.
Especially by skilled hackers.
Exactly. It's like a treasure trove for them.
It's kind of scary to think that all that stuff is out there.
Yeah. And the worst part is you might not even know you've been compromised until it's too late.
So it's not just about the technology.
No.
It's about awareness and being proactive.
Right.
It seems like a lot to manage.
It is.
But hopefully by understanding why these things matter, we can all make better decisions online.
Absolutely. Cybersecurity, it's not just about following rules.
Right.
It's about understanding the risks and making informed choices.
This has really changed how I think about all this.
I think it's a wake-up call for a lot of people.
Yeah, if the U.S. Treasury can be breached, it really makes you think.
Yeah, it really does. And that fact that they used a security key.
Right. That's what I don't get.
I know, it adds a whole other layer of complexity to this.
I thought security keys were supposed to be like the most secure.
They are one of the most reliable forms of two-factor.
Right.
But they're not foolproof.
So how could they even be compromised?
Well, there are a lot of sophisticated techniques. Exploiting vulnerabilities in the software, physically intercepting them, or even cloning them.
Wow. So even with two-factor, we're not totally safe.
Unfortunately not, and that's why it's so important to stay informed.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity, it's a constantly evolving field.
It's always changing.
Always.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
What does all this tell us about the U.S. and China?
It's a stark reminder that we're in a cyber war.
Yeah.
The battle lines are blurred.
Right.
Espionage, data theft, the possibility of disruption.
Yeah.
These are the weapons in this rivalry.
It's a high-stakes game with global consequences.
And this is just one incident in a much larger pattern.
Right. What are they really trying to achieve?
It's hard to say for sure, but they're playing the long game. They're accumulating information and capabilities for a potential advantage in the future.
It's scary to think about.
Yeah, it's a lot.
If the Treasury Department with all their resources can be breached,
yeah.
What about all the other systems we rely on?
Our banks, our hospitals, the power grid?
Right. It's unsettling.
It's a wake-up call for every organization to reassess their cybersecurity and make sure they're doing everything they can to protect their systems and data.
Yeah, it feels like we're shifting into this whole new era almost.
Yeah.
Like this new type of global conflict is brewing. But instead of tanks and missiles, it's all happening online.
It's a different kind of battlefield for sure.
And there are no rules in this cyber warfare.
It's a constant back and forth.
Yeah, and it's not just military targets or government agencies anymore.
Right.
It's our data, our financial systems, critical infrastructure. Everything's vulnerable.
This Treasury breach really drives that point home.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how secure you think you are.
Yeah, it's like a wake-up call for everyone.
For the whole world.
So where do we even go from here? If a security key can be compromised, how can we stay ahead of these hackers?
It's definitely a challenge.
It feels overwhelming.
I wouldn't say it's hopeless. I think we need to change how we think about cybersecurity. It's not just about building walls or creating these complex systems. It's about understanding the attackers, understanding their motivations and tactics.
So it's not just about the tech.
Right.
It's about the human element.
Cybersecurity is as much about psychology as it is about technology.
Oh, wow.
We need to think like the attackers, anticipate their moves, and adapt.
It's like a game of chess.
Exactly. You have to think several steps ahead.
Okay, so we've talked about strong passwords,
right?
phishing emails, software updates. But what about the bigger picture?
Yeah.
What can organizations and governments do?
It starts with a comprehensive risk assessment.
Okay.
You need to identify your most critical assets.
Yeah.
And then you understand the potential threats.
Okay.
And from there, you can develop a cybersecurity strategy.
So it's about being flexible and adaptable.
Exactly. And it's not just about the tech either. You need to train your employees to be more cyber aware.
Oh, right.
Human error is still a huge vulnerability.
Yeah, we see that all the time.
One wrong click can be devastating.
Definitely. And on a government level,
yeah,
there needs to be more collaboration between countries.
Absolutely.
These threats don't care about borders.
Right. It has to be a global response.
This whole conversation has been really eye-opening.
It's a complex issue.
It's not just about protecting data.
It's about protecting economies.
Yeah. Critical infrastructure, national security.
And it's only going to become more challenging in the future.
As we become more reliant on technology.
The stakes will only get higher.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
Cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility.
Right.
We all have a role to play in protecting ourselves.
Yeah.
Our organizations, our society.
From these threats.
By staying informed, being vigilant, and taking a proactive approach.
We could actually make a difference. It's a sobering thought, but it's also empowering.
Yeah.
We're not just victims in this.
Right.
We can take action.
We can protect ourselves and make a difference.
So on that note,
yeah,
we'll leave you with this.
Okay.
In this digital age where everything's so intertwined, what does it really mean to be secure? And what steps are you going to take to ensure your own safety and the safety of those around you?
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get